everything that you have. But yeah, I'm Catherine White, founder and CEO of MEYCO Marketing. We are a digital marketing agency in Southern California. Just like how Abby said, helps everybody with their social strategy, their email marketing campaigns, paid advertisements, branding, etc. Basically, anything digital, we've got your back. And I've now been doing this over 3-4 years. I've lost track now. I'm super excited to kind of dive into talking about what we can do to revamp your social media. And I'm going to go about 5 quick steps to kind of help you really get through the next week. And they're supposed to be very quick to this. I want you to be able to get off this call and spend maybe an hour or two just kind of putting into action some of the stuff that we talk about. So let me go over number 1. Let's see. Perfect. So we're gonna, first and foremost, I want you to review and audit your profiles and bios. So what do I mean by that? I'm gonna focus right now probably a lot on Instagram just because it is such a visual platform. We know that a lot of people are kind of looking for your types of services in a visual way. So for me, I really wanna talk about making sure that we are creating the right type of profile to really engage with your ideal customer and making sure that you're capturing their attention in that 7 seconds. So think about what entices you to follow an account, whether it's beautiful pictures, whether it's funny captions, whether it's a really organized, highly detailed, styled type of Instagram bio, and how you're gonna, again, grab that attention in 7 seconds. Because believe it or not, a study just our attention span seconds to 7 seconds, and they're predicting that in the next 2 years, it's gonna go down to 6. So we really wanna get some quick, punchy bios out there for people to okay, and so next. Perfect. So I'm gonna go over a quick audit checklist for you guys. These are just quick points for you to kind of make sure that you are having that really inviting looking profile and that you do capture your ideal client's attention. So number 1, I have a profile photos. And I'm split on this decision mostly, but your profile photo is very, very, very important. Personal profile photos, because I am a big believer that you are your brand, and a huge part of social media is having people really want to know you and then kind of learn the story behind your business. And we're finding, especially during this COVID-19 time, that a lot of people are making their business decisions, their purchasing decisions based on companies that they love, they trust, they understand. So for me, I love doing personal profile photos. If it's just you, if you're the face behind your business, pick a personal, awesome headshot, but make sure it's very updated. I have a lot of clients who have headshots from like 10 years ago. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend that just because I want you to look contemporary. I want you to look how you look. So people get a perfect idea of who you are. If you're a big company, so let's say you have 10 to 15 employees and your customers are really talking to a lot of people in your business, it's not just you, then that's when I would recommend doing a logo, something that that way you're still kind of the main frame of the profile, but not everybody's expecting to see you when they meet one of your team members in person or something like that. So number 1, revamp your profile photo. Number 2, I'm going to talk about bio necessities and basics. Again, I'm going to go back and say you've got 7 seconds. So a couple things that I tell our clients as I go over writing their brand bio. Take about 10 minutes and start bullet pointing out what you're known for. What do you do in a quick, 3 words? What are you specialize in? Maybe what is something that you want your ideal client looking for, and put that in your bio. You really want to be clear, concise, and engaging in what you're saying. So you want to possibly use emojis if you're a little bit more of a fun business. I definitely would recommend that in the wedding industry. I would definitely talk about what you are specializing in. Let's say you're really good at kind of the romantic type of florals or something like that. You want to put that in your bio because there are certain brides out there looking for certain services, and they're going to have that own style that they want to find that you specialize in. So first and foremost, tell them what you do. Just, I am a wedding planner. I am a floral designer. I am a whatever. Then go into what you're most known for. I am known for doing this. I love specializing with destination weddings, something like that, to kind of really bring that home. And then put in where you're located, possibly something that's very unique about you. What's special that differentiates you from other vendors. And I would even put your availability in. I love with a lot of these types of clients having them say, okay, we're booking for 2021. Or, you know, we're fully booked for fall, but we're booking for winter of next year. Something like that to get people knowing if you're available or not. I love that. Okay, number 3, business versus creator versus personal account. I'm sure a couple of you guys have probably delved into this a little bit, trying to figure out, okay, do I want a business, a creator, a personal? And the only reason why I touch on this is it helps a lot if you're going to invest in any kind of planning sites, which we'll get to later, to help you organize your content. I am a big advocate for being a business. And the reason because of that is if you can kind of see the picture of the phone on the right hand, that's so many people want to be able to find your information quickly, find your email, find your phone number. And so having a business account allows for you to do that. And then also it frees up space in your bio. So you no longer have to write in your bio, here's my phone number, here's my email. You're kind of getting redundant. Instead, you can save that space, that really critical 150 characters you have in your bio for what you specialize in. And instead, there's a really easy button for everybody to click on and find your personal, or I guess you say your contact information. If you guys have more questions about kind of personal versus creator versus business, I'm just a big fan of business because it integrates a lot with some scheduling sites. It's just a lot easier to kind of streamline across your profile. So definitely make sure your account is a business account. And then 4, highlight covers. These are my favorite things to talk about because I'm big on organization. If you guys can't tell, at the end of this, we're going to talk about having everything organized and streamlined. So if you can you'll look at the 2 pictures on your screen right now, and you'll see the one on the left is kind of a before, right when I first started working with one of our clients. And one is in after, about 5 days after we did their whole brand assessment, logo design, organization, everything. And I don't know about you, but when I look at the one on the left, I'm not so sure exactly what this person does. You know, I kind of understand it's not super enticing. I don't see fun colors. I kind of understand what he does, but not very much. When I look on the right, I've got, okay, whoa, business. All right, I understand something that, you know, separates him apart. He's a Porsche owner. Okay, he's a photographer, original content. Great. I've got all these clickable links. Great. I know how to email him. And then right below that, you see those lovely little bubbles. Those are your highlight covers if you're not super familiar with them. And that's a great way to have those quick snapshots of maybe examples of work, behind the scenes, like that, that's organized, that's interesting. Like I'm very interested in clicking on these bubbles, whereas beforehand he didn't even know. So you can kind of just see these quick tweaks make a big difference in your profile. I know it might not look like a big difference, but I promise you it looks like a big difference to a lot of users who visit. And again, this took us maybe a day to be able to kind of change. So you can take a day or 2 to just make these adjustments and being able to design all this stuff for you guys. That's a good kind of overview. And then same thing here. I pulled some of our friends in the social media management world and pulled examples of also ways to show off your highlight covers. A lot of people ask me if you should have the designed icon highlight covers, like the one you see on the left-hand side from Jenna Kutcher, versus not having highlight covers. You can kind of tell the difference about how the icons really jump out really fast. I can, a picture's worth 1,000 words in my opinion, so I can tell exactly what that means when I look at their highlight bubbles of text me, of lake life, all that stuff. I can understand that. When I look to the profile on the right, it's cool, it's edgy, it's designy, but it's not as organized. It's a little bit harder for me to understand what they're trying to tell me. Both work really well. Both are very successful companies. It just depends upon your style. So I wanted to throw in 2 options for you guys to kind of see different ways of how you can organize your highlight covers and make them fit your branding, which I love. Perfect. Okay, this is another meaty section. So number 2 is creating your content pillars and categories. Now, you guys might be thinking, Catherine, what are pillars? This is really confusing. I don't need to know any of these things. I promise this is all for organization's sake. Your pillars are the categories of posts you want to stick to when promoting your business. What I mean by that is ideas of what exactly you're going to say. I have so many clients who come to me saying, I have no idea what to talk about. And they get overwhelmed with, should I show off some of my work? Should I show off a picture of me and my dog sleeping at home? do a design post and ask people frequently asked questions like, what supposed to be posting and how do I do it efficiently? So for me, I want all my clients to come up with these pillars of content, categorize things that are important to you in your business, like behind the scenes work, like examples of your products, maybe even customer testimonials, stuff like that, that are really important in a sales strategy, but you're going to turn it into your marketing strategy to really show off who you are. Because at the end of the day, your Instagram and all of your social profiles is supposed to be a really nicely curated, I like to high-end magazine of what you do, what you represent, and why you this person for their needs, or you're supposed to get them your product. So we're going to creating pillars and categories really fast. Again, I don't want to overwhelm y'all. I like to stick to about 5 pillars, but you can just sit down and brainstorm maybe 3. Let's just start with 3 at the beginning and then start growing with those as well. Next slide, please. Perfect. Okay, yeah. So we're going to be putting together 5. The reason why I say 5 is I want you guys to have that goal of posting Monday through Friday. Might sound like a lot, might sound overwhelming. So again, go down to 3, doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Thursday, Friday, whatever works best for you. But I'm going to tell you right now, consistency is key in growing your social profiles and getting your name out there. You have to post often. So let's stick to these 5 and let's plan Monday through Friday. And I'm going to show you how you're going to take those 5 pillars and put them into the month a little bit later. Okay, cool. So most people ask me, okay, what are pillars of content? What the heck should I be focusing on? And I've broken down 5 that work across a lot of industries. You definitely want to refine depending upon if you're a planner, if you're a florist, so on and so forth. So first one, personal. I cannot stress enough how you need to get personal on your profile. I know that sounds strange, and I know you're going to say, I'm marketing my business, I don't have to be personal. But at the end of the day, social media was created for celebrities. That was the first thing, and the reason why social media became so huge was because people wanted to know what Kim Kardashian was eating for lunch, what people were doing for workout. Everybody's kind of nosy nowadays. So you want to bring that element into your business. You want to entice people to get to know you, or to want to know what you're doing behind the scenes and get a sneak peek at your business life. So personal is really important. Your stories, your staff, maybe why you created your company, and do that frequently. I have a lot of clients who ask me, well, I introed myself 4 months ago. No, you need to be introing yourself about every 2 months, because guess what? You've got new people coming in every day who don't know your story. You need to keep reminding people of your story and really solidifying that trust factor. Number 2, knowledge. You guys are industry professionals, and everyone's coming and looking to you because you're the best, right? So you want to establish that knowledge base, that you are the number one, that you know all the tips and tricks, that you are the person to go to if people have questions. So you really want to sell yourself and convince people that you're the brand in the business that's for them, because you seem like the industry expert. So anytime you can do a quick video of, hey, this is what you should be doing when you're summer wedding, something like that, to really help entice people and be like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I'm going to listen to this industry expert. Same thing with any resources you can give brides or mother of the brides while they're getting ready, stuff like that. Number 3, product and service highlights. Okay, show off your products. Please, 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 if you hear nothing else, show off your products. Probably sounds like a no-brainer, but I want you to show what your beautiful weddings look like, what some of the stuff that you spend all this time and energy on, and really show it off to the world. This is the time to brag about yourself a little bit and really kind of show all the types of examples that you do. So that one's a little bit self-explanatory. Then 4, sales and a value proposition. So if I backtrack a little bit, social media is not about selling. It's about giving information, engaging with people. But you want a little element of sales in here. So that's why if you look at these 5 pillars, only one of them talks about sales per se. So your number 4 pillar is a little bit more of like, okay, I'm doing a special. Oh, I'm including something. Oh, my pricing has either increased or dropped. Something like that, that really pushes that person to make that decision to call you. Because right now they've learned about you. They've learned that you are the industry expert and they've seen your stuff. It's now time to make sure that they come and book with you. So that's a big thing I want to stress. Only sell about once every 5 posts. I know it sounds kind of strange, but it's important to only push that call to action once and instead serve your clients 4 out of 5 days of the week. And then number 5, fun. Social media is supposed to be fun. People get really serious about it, and I don't want you to get super serious about it. It's supposed to be a little bit cheeky. Maybe show some jokes, so show some celebrations of you celebrating a year of business, or somebody's birthday, or maybe somebody had a baby and you want to kind of show that off. Maybe your dog's in your office. Something kind of fun and relatable to make people laugh and smile because they'll remember you for that fact. And again, you're establishing that trust factor, which is so, so, so important. So this is a quick kind of overview of those 5 pillars. Make sure you're coming up with a couple categories of what you do that fit underneath those pillars so you can start planning that out.
These next 2 slides are
good. Perfect. So then I just kind of put down in some examples of what I've done for a client. So this one was actually a local medical spa that I work with, and I brought down an example of types of posts for each pillar. And then I assigned it to a day of the week. So if you can see, I picked personal for Mondays, knowledge for Tuesdays, product for Wednesdays, so on and so forth. Then I kind of broke it down going, okay, let's come up with all the ideas that have to do with a personal post. So we're going to talk about the provider or you're the business owner. I want to highlight a staff member. Maybe it's their birthday, something like that. Talk about your journey. That's a huge one. People love personal stories of why you decided to become an entrepreneur, why you create your business, because it's a unique story. So it's to know, and we tend to see the highest engagement rates on that type of stuff. Get real. I hate the whole fact that Instagram sometimes is only that perfect, primed grid. I want you to be very real. A lot of consumers are very, very smart. They can tell when you're being fake. They can tell when something looks really highly edited. There's that fine balance that you're going to have to find between having something very curated and clean and branded, but also being very real and very relatable. It's super important to a lot of those users nowadays. I'll move on to Tuesday. I want you to really start talking about and thinking about the knowledge stuff. For your industry, it might make sense of maybe how you should be putting together a timeline, maybe when you should be looking for certain vendors like florists, DJs, all that type of stuff. Day of guides and plans and ideas that you can give to your clients, anything like that to help kind of establish something. I love for frequently asked questions. I have a lot of people actually write out their frequently asked questions and do like a 10-part series. Well, guess what? You just have 10 Tuesdays of posts all ready to go from all these questions that you answer probably twice a day, every day, which is super helpful in all of your content. I won't go through all of them because there's a lot, but Wednesday, I talked about kind of focusing and highlighting your product. I keep picking florists because highlight all of your like boutonnieres, bouquets, any all huge. Same thing for Thursday, your sales, highlight your products, but maybe you let them know of a monthly package. Maybe you let them know of a special because you've got 2 more slots open for fall of 2020. Something like that to really engage and get them to ask you a question. One thing I really want to point out for Thursday, add in a free customer's purchase. I think that's huge. Offering some type of value with you, the bread and butter of marketing. People don't give away their email or for nothing. You're giving them something in return, whether it's a day of guide, whether it's a questions you should be asking all of your vendors, or a timeline, something like that you can give them for free that is not maybe worth $5,000, but is something that's really going to help them in their lives and make their lives just a little bit easier. And then Friday, do something fun. I did write it down in their TikTok videos. If you guys are not on TikTok, I would highly recommend you start getting on TikTok. Trust me, I went kicking and screaming. I hated getting on TikTok, but my team was like, nope, we have to. It is the new social media platform. So try it out. I think there are a lot of very interesting things you can be doing with TikTok that's not what you probably see on mainstream TikTok of dancing in the background or something like that. But that's where you get the fun in it. So I would definitely talk about that, as well as posting a lot of pop culture references. I'll say I had a couple clients who were getting everybody prepped medically for the wedding season. So whether it's getting a facelift or facials or stuff like that for the brides and the mother of the brides to get ready, we popped in a lot of those famous celebrities who just got married. Oh, look how she looked, and guess what their skincare routine was like. Well, we can kind of switch and use that for you guys. Oh, guess what type of gown she was wearing on her wedding, what type of flowers she picked for X, Y, and Z. Some of that stuff's really important to throw in there because it does show a little bit more of your fun side, and people can relate to those posts as well. So here's a quick overview really fast for your posts. And then I just threw it together really fast for you guys in a month-long plan. So as you can see, what I did was I broke down about 4 to 5 weeks of posts, took all my pillars and made sure they were represented during one day of the week. Now take note, I didn't do, every Monday was a personal post. Every Tuesday was a knowledge post. I kind of mixed it up. It's really good to make sure that you're not sticking to a really rigid, structured system. You want to have a little bit of organization because I get it, you're a small business owner, there's so many things to do in a day, but you want to make sure that you can kind of change it as you go. So you don't have to stick to this plan exactly. I'm just here to help give you a backbone and a structure of how to organize and kind of plan it all out. But I want you to play with it. It's all about being fun, being personal, and not one recipe is going to fit for every single business. You're going to have to try different things to make sure that it fits your ideal client, that people are engaging with your posts, and that they like the type of photo editing you're doing and stuff like that. So I would make sure you kind of mix it up a little bit, but if anything, don't forget to be consistent. Please walk away from this making a goal of posting at least 3 times a week. I know it might sound like a lot, but take 30 minutes a day or maybe 30 minutes a week and plan out your posts. It will save you so much time in the long run and will help your marketing scheme in the long run as well. Okay, so that was 2. Geez, I'm gonna try to go a little faster. Sorry guys. 3, creating and testing your hashtags. So hashtags are a beast sometimes. A lot of people get really frustrated with hashtags. They have so many questions about hashtags. And I wanted to create a quick kind of guide for you to get together and start testing. Social media is all about testing, guys. You're gonna kind of come up with a plan for a month. Then you're gonna wanna review and make some changes. It's just how it goes. You're never gonna find the perfect chocolate chip cookie recipe till you add in a couple things, subtract a couple things, then you get something that's awesome and unique. It's the same thing with your social media plan. So when you use hashtags, you want to think of them as like keywords on your website. If you guys have websites, I'm sure you hear all the time about SEO and making sure you have your keywords chock full in there, and that's how you're going to be ranked in the top 10 on Google. Same thing with hashtags. You want to think about them as your keywords. I want to talk a little bit about what the mix of your hashtags look like and understand that they're a necessity for your posts. If you're not using hashtags, please start doing so because they will 37% of traffic come into your business as new users. I ran a quick study with my team earlier last week just on the wedding industry in general, and we were finding that more and more people, about 30 to 40% of young couples who get engaged, start looking for vendors just by hashtags. Orange County brides, Orange County bridal consultant, stuff like that. They'll use it with all of their locations as well. So super important to start using. Also want to point out, not all social media platforms are equal. So you need to make sure that you're using all your hashtags appropriately. So again, here's a quick kind of overview. These are all some social media platforms that I recommend you get on. If you're not on all of them, that's okay, but you definitely should be on at least 3 of these. And so going over kind of number of hashtags that you're going to want to use for Facebook, but Instagram, you have 30, use all 30. Put them in the first comment section and make sure you're tagging everything. LinkedIn, maybe 1 or 2. LinkedIn probably might not be the perfect social media platform for your type of industry, but it's still good to have. Twitter, 4 to 7, especially since they increased that character limit, I think about a year ago. Pinterest, stick to about 10 to 15. I'm a big on Pinterest. I highly recommend it. It's now starting to become the next type of search engine, and it's super, again, visual. So your industry is prime for this type of social media platform. And then YouTube. I'll talk really fast about YouTube. I would not use hashtags. Instead, they're called tags when you're publishing a video. They're basically the same thing, but you're not going to be using the pound sign or the hash sign. So if you have questions about that, feel free to let me know, because YouTube's a huge platform that we're using a lot in 2020. And remember, your hashtags should change. This is going to be something that's, again, very fluid. But something that I would really recommend to you is pick 30 hashtags today. Go home, sit down, pick 10 hashtags that have to do with your business. So hashtag flourish, hashtag bridal bouquet, or bride bouquet, something like that. Your local county, Orange County Bride, sorry, I picked Orange County, Inland Empire. Then something that's just more industry related, wedding planning, California brides, and then 5 more that's branded to you. So your business name, tag MEYCO marketing all the time. Make sure you come up with about 5 that are branded to your business specifically, because once you are kind of a little bit more well-known, or people are sending other customers via word of mouth, they're going to want to look up your stuff. So make sure you are taking all your stuff with your business tag. Super, super, super important. And pay attention to the algorithm. The algorithm changed, I think, hearing whispers that it's going to be changing again in June. With what changes, I'm not quite sure yet, but I know hashtags are going to be a little bit more important. So start setting up your hashtags now and test them and change them. Oh, and before I forget, one of the changes that happened back last year with the algorithm was that they start penalizing profiles that use the same mix of hashtags every day. What do I mean by that? If you do hashtag, I'll just take hashtag flowers, hashtag florist, hashtag Inland Empire florist, and you keep putting that every single day in the same exact order, Instagram thinks you're a robot. It doesn't think you're a real person and is going to start penalizing you. So you need to make sure that you're mixing those up. If you're doing it once a week, no big deal. You're totally fine. But if you're doing it every day, they're going to start pushing you down in the rankings, and we don't want that. You've put in all this hard work with hashtags and copy, and we want to make sure that you are at the top of your rankings. Okay. Oh, good. This is one of my favorite out of the 4. So we're going to talk about batch writing your content for COVID-19. Now I know we're kind of in the midst of it, maybe hopefully fingers crossed coming out at the end of this really weird time, but it's still really important to think about what content you could be writing today and how that's going to affect future postings and content. So as Ricardo was saying, you've probably shifted your business, pivoted, you're doing all these different things, trying to do all these different offers that a lot of other businesses out there are doing because we're kind of stuck at home. So with your content, you're going to want to do the same thing. You're going to really start amping up being that resource. So you're going to have a lot more knowledge posts, a lot more stuff about maybe if brides had to postpone their weddings, what can you help them with? What are some great resources for them to go to right now? Because they're probably very stressed out. I would also talk about your situation. As I think either Abby or Carly was saying, we are talking about community here. People crave community. That's another reason why social media has been doing so well. So you want to insert yourself into the community. I can't tell you how many clients have just taken a picture of them at home, with their makeshift desk and their kids also doing online school and showing what their new normal looks like. It's become a really great way to level with your customers and have them put themselves in your shoes, and they kind of feel like, okay, you're another person just like me. We're in this together. It's really established that wonderful trust factor between clients and yourself. Donations. So that was a big one about a week ago. I was finding a lot of big companies were showing how they were supporting the community, how they were giving their time or trying to change their products to effect. I had one of our clients does reusable beach towels, and she decided to cut them all up and make reusable face masks, which I thought was brilliant, and how she was going to just be donating them to the local hospitals or if people needed them. And we saw a lot of great engagement. And I will say that establishes a lot of loyalty. People are going to remember you for the good things that you've done in the community. And it's very true. People love shopping small. So if you can establish yourself as one of those support systems for the community, people will remember you. People will come back to you. And I kind of touched on that a little bit. Understanding what you're doing to help the community is really, really important. And I threw 3 examples of businesses that I thought did a really good job with the changing of COVID-19. I'll go over those really fast. I love what Loom did. Loom is a online videoing application. They waived their 30-day free trial and bumped it up to, I want to say, 75 days. So they were already cutting a ton of money there, at least on their income side, and allowing people more time to try it out. And they cut the cost of signing up for their lowest package by half, which I thought was huge. So a lot of people right now might be making purchasing decisions on either cutting small costs and stuff like that. But because Loom decided to kind of slash their prices for right now for a couple months, they're going to continue to gain that loyalty, and they're going to have more customers in the long run who will stick with them through this time period. And I thought that was really, really smart. Same thing with Zillow. I use it all the time. I look at houses all the time. It is a great to go look at what houses are on the market. And there are a lot of opportunities for realtors to be able to advertise on Zillow. Well, a lot of the realtors were saying, oh, crud, we're going to go into a recession. I don't know what my job's going to look like. I'm going to start cutting costs right now. And Zillow said, wait. I will waive all of your monthly payments that you pay to be listed on Zillow for 2 to 3 months so that you can continue to do your business. And I thought that was huge. They were supporting, I don't want to say, other independent contractors and business owners, but they were also just making sure that they didn't see a huge dip in their sales and that their customer retention was there. Loved that. And then third, Disney Plus. So if you're not looking to cut any costs, or if you really need to keep your prices where they are, keep your prices where they are, but add some extra value. So what Disney Plus did, and I think it's my favorite out of the 3, is they launched, I think it was 3 extra Disney and Pixar movies that they were going to be launching in the theaters, but instead decided to put them online. So one, your kids and family could escape this kind of crazy time and watch Frozen, or I think it was Onward, or whatever the other one was. It created that joy, it created that happiness without necessarily them losing money, but you added value. They might have lost money from doing the premieres and the ticket sales, but they gained that loyalty and that happiness that people will remember them for. So I think it was huge in terms of changing for COVID-19. And then I wanted to throw some examples of some of the stuff I talked about that you can start thinking about posting to your social media profiles. Anything that's a little bit more, I don't want to say touchy-feely, but touchy-feely, inspirational, good ways to help people and show them how to be supporting smaller businesses right now, because we are going to be going through a very strange time period once we're out of quarantine and moving back into regular life. So anything you can do to kind of try to spread that positivity, add that extra value to your clients, and let them know that you're here, you're operating, you're still going full speed, is really, really important. So these are just some quick ideas I wanted to give you guys. I'm a big fan of inspirational quotes. If you see some good inspirational quotes, send them my way, because I would definitely like to use them. And then, okay, let's talk about what platform you should focus on. So this is a huge question I get all the time. A couple slides back, you saw that we had like 6, or was it 6? I don't know, a myriad of social media profiles. And a lot of people go, okay, I don't have time for all those. I need to pick one, which is good. That's okay. But the name of the game, honestly, is to repurpose your content. I want you to be on 3, 5, 6, 7 of those profiles, because that's how you create your big marketing circle, and that's how your reach becomes the largest. So try to create content that you can post on all social media. In the last 2 weeks, we have seen a 42% increase in time spent on social media. That, and I will say, we have seen a decrease in costs for running ads on social media, because a lot of big businesses had decided to move their money in different directions, given an opportunity for small businesses to really make their money go a really long way in marketing. So I think if you're looking at doing some paid advertising right now, it's huge. We're seeing the lowest cost per click that I've seen in about 6 or 7 years. So Instagram stories are huge. If you can't tell already, it's probably one of my favorite profiles, and I would highly recommend you spend a good amount of time on Instagram. If that's the only profile you're on, that's okay. Make it really, really good, and then start, putting it on Pinterest, start putting it on Facebook. Those are really easy kind of segues to get into. I would definitely leverage Instagram lives. Live videos are huge right now. Facebook lives, I do a lot of Zoom live calls, stuff like that, to be able to intrigue your audience. And again, show them that you're kind of in the same situation that they are. Really, really huge. I would definitely try to keep them sweet and short. 2 to 5 minutes is probably the most you want to do. Again, we've got that short 7-second attention span, so we want to keep them quick videos. And then by 2021, we do have a study that came out saying 83% of mobile web traffic is going to be through video. So I hate to say it, start doing videos. Those are golden. Anytime we do any testing on post performance, video almost outdoes it 4 times than just a regular picture. So if you can start getting comfortable doing videos, doing quick little selfies and going over stuff, really, really, really important. I want to make sure that with all of this stuff, you're establishing that know, like, and trust factor. Since we're dealing with digital platforms, you and I are separated by a screen. I can't come and give you a hug or shake your hand or anything like that. So I want to make sure that you guys really establish that genuine connection with your users, and doing videos is really important to be able to do so. Being personal, showing your know, like, and trust factor, really, really important. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to create this community of followers around you. Okay, cool. My last one, trying to go somewhat fast. Consistency tools. So again, the big takeaway for today is stay consistent. It is so incredibly important. And now we really start diving into how you make content. So I want you to take advantage of the time that you're in your house right now to really start writing out your content. Some iPhone. A lot of people think they need to have some really nice DSLR camera that's super equipped and thousands of dollars. Your iPhones, these cameras are amazing. Use them, honestly. It's kind of one of the easiest things to do. And we've actually seen people trust people who film on their iPhones because it seems a little bit more natural. It's more organic. It's not staged and you don't have makeup on and all this type of stuff. It's actually better for establishing that know, like, and trust factor. Film a 2 or 3 minute video as a message to your clients about maybe when you're opening, if you're still booking, stuff like that. I would also really recommend book a brand photography session. So I didn't really touch on that a lot, but brand photography is awesome if you're a very visual brand like a lot of you guys. So I would take the opportunity to find maybe a photographer out there. They are doing probably some big sales. I had actually my brand photographer 2 weeks ago was doing 50% off. So if you couldn't maybe afford a photographer beforehand, you might be able to now. And it's one of those great things where you can just have 1 or 2 of you go out, take some pictures of you, some behind the scenes of how, how you're making a bouquet or having a meeting with a client, something like that. I would definitely look into finding a brand photographer in your area right now. If you're not down that track of finding a brand photographer, go find some free stock images. I'm a big fan of stock images. You can search for them on Pinterest, but you have to make sure that you can track them back to some type of photographer or give them credit in whatever post you use their photo for. And go to Unsplash. Unsplash.com is awesome for any type of really stylized, curated photos for you to be able to use for your website, your social media, all that type of stuff. I'm a big fan of Unsplash, and you do not need to credit the photographer, which is huge. That, and try a social scheduler. So I'm very biased. I'm a big fan of social schedulers. I think it really helps you save a ton of time. Big fan of Planoly. Go look it up. It's got a free version for you, so you can play with it. I'm a big visual person, so you can kind of play around with putting your grid together on Instagram, scheduling your stories. But I can't tell you how valuable it is while you're dealing with all the other things in your daily life, knowing that you've got your post, it was already scheduled a week ago. You don't have to worry about posting today is a huge stress relief and will help you stick to being consistent online. So go check out Planoly. I absolutely love it. And take some time. There are a ton of free tools out there. There are other stuff like Hootsuite and Later, Buffer. I mean, there are thousands of social media planning sites that you can do for either 30-day free trials or for free. So I definitely take some time to research maybe what fits you. And I think a big key about staying consistent is picking one of these tools, because if you can really stick to a plan and plan it ahead of time, you're going to be consistent and you're going to get better engagement and you're going to grow your profiles way faster than you ever have before. It's a huge thing. And then to kind of wrap it up, I want you to remember that social media is about sociology and psychology more than technology. I can totally be tech challenged. There have been times where I have to turn to my husband because I don't know how to turn on the TV because our remote's really scary. Same thing with social media. You're gonna learn a little bit about the technological kind of stuff behind it, how you change photo like thumbnails and stuff like that, and on IGTV and all of that. But I want you to go back, and when you're writing and when you're coming up with the pictures to post, it's about what people are going to think, see, feel. It's not about the technology. It's about really coming together and make that connection through a sociological and psychological background. So it's something to kind of think about while you're making your social media. And I think that's kind of all I had for those 5 points.
Yeah, it was really good 5 points. I think chock full of just really good information. And yeah, this is just our last slide. So we had a couple of questions in the chat box in terms of if these slides were going to be available. So we will send these out. But like I said in the beginning of the talk, you know, Catherine does run a company. So I think if you guys, you know, let's say like this is totally something, like this is not up my alley, I think I need to outsource this. This is obviously something that Catherine does for a day job. So I think if you guys are interested in that, right, whether, I mean, I know Catherine, you offer different services, but I think if anyone, you know, doesn't want to do it themselves and maybe they want some expert help, then MEYCO can do that for you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we help with everything from just doing overall strategy, you know, branding. We can go for an hour-long call. We can sign you on for months. It's, you know, kind of totally up to you. So I can help anything A to Z. And if you guys do have questions, feel free to either direct message me on Instagram or email me. I'm at your disposal.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll make sure that everyone gets her information, but that pretty much is the 5, you know, topics, the 5 things that we can all do. But I think now we'll just kind of open up to some Q&A. So Carly, if you want to read out the questions for Catherine.
Yeah, that sounds great. It looks like, Catherine, thank you so much. That information was so good. I think it's a great opportunity for us to really take advantage of the time that we have here. And so Sarah Foxman writes, I always get stuck when it comes to coming up with the hashtags. What suggestions do you have to come up with relevant hashtags to attract more traffic? In that same note, we had someone else who wrote, what hashtag apps are available?
Good question. Okay, so I'm a fan of, I call it my 3 for 3 rule. So go find 3 of your competitors or maybe people that you want to emulate and start looking at their hashtags. That's, I think, the first #1 thing you can be able to do, because if someone is engaging with another business and you want to compete with them or something like that, start your hashtag list there. You are going to have to take some time to really find the balance of how often a hashtag is used. So I didn't really dive into this, but I'm sure, you know, there are hashtags out there like hashtag weddings. I cannot tell you probably millions of people just hashtag weddings. You probably don't want to use that hashtag just because fluff of the a million and other people there. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to editors from there. And then you really just want to do some good old searches on Instagram. You want to go and find some balances of hashtags that are used maybe around 10,000 times, maybe even a little less. Throw in a couple that are used 200,000 times, 1,000,000 times to be put into that pool, but make sure that you're kind of evenly distributing how often your hashtags are used and putting them within those 30 hashtags. As far as apps, I'm a big fan. So I know Buffer has an option for you to kind of start looking up hashtags. It's a great and Buffer. You can do and run some reports on Planoly as well for hashtags. So other than that, good old fashioned research is kind of the way to go.
Awesome. So Teresa Eoth asks, are there any techniques to come up with your captions?
Yes. So I've had a couple where we would go through, what would you telling a friend that you haven't seen in about 5 or 10 years when you're having drinks on, you know, over dinner? What are some questions that they ask you very frequently? What do you do? Why did you do it? What's a daily day in the life look like for you? What's been a struggle for you? Stuff like that is really going to start helping you with those more personal questions. Because what I find is a lot of clients have a really hard time talking about themselves. It feels weird. They don't want to really boost their ego or something like that. So think about if you were having a conversation with your best friend from high school and maybe what questions would be really easy for you to answer right then and there. Then take those and rewrite them. That's how you get the same type of content and the same type of message across, but it sounds different every time.
That's awesome. Good. Now, would you recommend that some people look at their curated Instagram profiles and they want a certain color scheme or aesthetic to it. Would you recommend that we stick with a certain color scheme when creating our Instagram profiles?
I'm going to say yes and no. So the other reason why I'm going to say yes and no is you guys know who your ideal client is. There's probably a type of bride or a type of event that you specialize in that you're better at, whether it has to do with, destination weddings or weddings, maybe more funky weddings, something like that. There's going to be colors that fit with your branding and that fit with your style that you're going to, and I'll very, very honest, people judge a book by its cover. So if your Instagram grid is all over the place and you don't look organized and they can't really highly rated, but with that being said, I love this trend that's going on. I'm trying to think about who does it. I know Planoly, sorry, I kept talking about Planoly. Planoly does it where they actually sort through different colors. So they'll go through all the colors of the rainbow and they'll pick about 9 to 12 posts that have a red aspect to it. Then they'll move into like yellow or a brown and they'll go into like you want to focus on. I love that type of strategy to really highlight everything that you can do, but it's together.
That's some great information. I know when we started talking or at the intro, we had talked about how important change is. And I think that it's interesting to look at the opportunity of using, different images from our iPhone to be able to take pictures. Before, a few years ago, it was to make sure that all the photos on our Instagram were really those that are driven by photographers. And so it sounds like it's a great opportunity to open up and change a little bit more and adapt by using photos with just our iPhone. Ricardo, you had a question?
No, I was agreeing with the color scheme. Sorry, guys. No, I'm writing all these notes, as I'm sure everybody else is, and then my question gets answered right away. So go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just think that it's some great information, especially the ability to adapt and change, and look at pivoting our segment or pivoting our information for a different type of clientele. Ricardo, did you want to close out? Oh yes, I'm sorry, Abby.
So you mentioned TikTok, right? So I guess I'm curious. I know that TikTok became really popular in quarantine, right? And a lot of like quote unquote the older people went on to TikTok. So I guess I'm curious as to what your take is. You mentioned like it's so much more than just like the dancing app, right? So I guess as a wedding vendor, right? For one, I guess can you describe what TikTok is? Because I think a lot of people ask me who are in the wedding industry, like, what is TikTok, right? So I guess that's my first question is what is the easiest way to describe it to someone who's not on TikTok? And how can business owners and, specifically wedding, vendors be on it, I guess you could say, or what's the strategy there?
Yeah, good question. So TikTok is, it's just mainly a video platform where you pair a fun, probably enticing video with a piece of music. So it could be your favorite Bruno Mars music or Celine Dion or whatever. And so I love TikTok because they're normally a little bit shorter videos and they're definitely more fun with that type of pop culture reference of song. With that being said, so if you're trying to really start a strategy on TikTok, what I've seen work really well for business owners, instead of, looking like a cheesy dancer in the back, I really like showing behind the scenes. So let's say you're setting up on the day of a wedding and you want to shoot like a couple either transitions of this is where we started, we're now offloading the car or the truck, here's a couple people to go through what a day in their life like, or they'll do it over week. So they'll change outfits for, Monday, it's my admin day, I'm answering emails. Tuesday, I'm on site taking pictures. Wednesday, I'm doing this. And it's a little bit more of that kind of fun, punchy, engaging content that's not super serious. But another good example would be a lot of before and afters. I do work with a lot of medical professionals as well, and they'll kind of show transitions of people going through their, facelift journey or something like that. You could do the same thing for coming up with a wedding timeline or something fun like that. I do think doing a series of TikTok videos is very fun. So let's say you want to help a bride plan from day one all to wedding day and kind of going through like once a week you do a certain topic, kind of shows you working with, could be really fun and something that makes people want to continue to go on TikTok and watch your weekly video or something like that.
Awesome. I'm going to take this last question from Lisa. She says, how effective are collaborative posts? I think what she means is like when you post something and you tag different vendors, how effective is it?
Hugely effective. I think tagging other vendors is massive. I mean, what we've seen, we used to do a side-by-side study. We wouldn't tag any other type of business in the industry versus tagging about 4 to 5 in your photos. Your brand is the number one thing we want, at least tiers. I want to get the most at your stuff. That's kind of the best way to get a good conversion. So if you're tagging multiple, mind you, they have to be people that relate to the picture or video. If they don't, Instagram will actually penalize you for that. So stick to tagging 3 to 5 people that maybe did the flowers on that day, that did the makeup, that did the hair, anything like that that you can really do to bring together, because you're going to show up on their feed and you're going to see with more than not, people who are booking with them are going to want to look at your stuff, and you're going to get that extra reach, which is super, super important.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think just to add on to that, and because I've taken a couple polls like on our Instagram, and I know that a lot of brides will actually pull vendors. If they're looking for vendors, they'll go to our post and they'll see like the list, right, as to who like the DJ was, who the florist was. So I think there's that aspect, that it's a resource for brides, right? And then on the flip side, just like what Catherine said, it's a marketing opportunity, because if there's 12 vendors for one wedding and all of us post, right, whether that's like a hard post and then one like on the stories, we're pretty much cross marketing, right? So we're reaching just a broader audience, and it's worked for us definitely. So I think it's important to do that.
No, exactly. So, Catherine, thank you so much. This is great. I mean, I can speak for everybody. Know the comments. That's a lot of content, and definitely, like you mentioned, something that is important right now, and kind of knowing where we're going to go. Have these tools that are definitely that are our advantage, right? Again, thank you, Abby, to the bomb. Carly, everybody that's joined in. I mean, I'm very, very excited of our team and how we're putting this together. And thank you guys all for joining us. Please, for all of those of you who signed up, we're going to go ahead and email them the same info that we spoke about. This is a live Zoom, and it's not recorded. So you're lucky, because if anybody wanted to find out what it was, unfortunately we didn't. This is not a recorded one. So thank you so much, and keep everybody posted. Follow us on Instagram. Anybody, all our individual posts, pages, and we'll keep you posted on the next one. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
again,
you,
Catherine.
guys.